So before we start, is it okay if we do a very quick exercise? Okay, all right. Can everyone start by raising their hand? One hand up, nice and high for me. So how many people would love to be in a relationship, a long-term relationship? Everybody, yeah?
Do we put our hands
No, keep your hands up if you want that. Not you, okay, no problem. One, we have one, two out, okay. How many of you would like your relationship to last at least 18 years or more? Yeah? Okay. All right. How many? All right. How many of you would like to wake up one day and realize that you've married the wrong person and have your world shattered? Where have all the hands gone? No hands. We have no hands. Well, that's my story. My name is Dela, and I'm the founder of Dela Wellness Foundation. And today we're here at Love and Logic, and we're going to be talking about all things relationship and choosing the right partner for you. Today I'm here and I'm co-hosting with my lovely friend over here, Coach Kamshuka. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I'd just like to introduce myself a little bit more, and then I'll pass on to you and you can introduce yourself. I got married when I was 24 years old, which to me was very, very young. My marriage lasted 18 years. One day I realized that I was in the wrong situation for me. There had been a series of things that had happened along the way that I had tried to ignore, turn a blind eye to, because society tells you that you're supposed to be in this amazing marriage and you should stick it out no matter what, especially if you have children. So I was stuck in this relationship and I didn't know how to come out. And after having come out of the relationship, I was forced to then look back on some of the things that went wrong. And for me, I realized a lot of things that happened that made the relationship break down was because I didn't actually think about the person that I was actually marrying and what I actually needed from that relationship. And that was the first big mistake that I made. So I had to go back and revisit and think, what do I actually want for my next relationship? What are the things that I perhaps need my partner to be able to give me in order for me to feel fulfilled? And what do I need to be able to do for my partner? And that's kind of where this event sort of came from, because I feel like there's not enough education, there's not enough things that are spoken about in order for us to be prepared before we step into marriage. Because right now, marriage seems like once you get married, that's success. You made it. It's wonderful. You've won the prize. But actually, there's so much that goes on behind closed doors. And so I want to talk about that more. And that's the reason why the foundation was born, so that we can have real, honest, open, scary discussions, which we don't ordinarily have. But I'm not going to talk too much. So I'm going to hand over to Coach.
I love that. The scary conversations.
Scary, absolutely.
Speaking on relationships, it can be both exciting, amazing, and yet still scary.
Yeah.
Because you're giving so much of yourself to somebody else. But what if you don't know that much about yourself? So what are you giving to somebody else? My name is Coach Kamshuka. I am a wellness coach, mindfulness practitioner, author, and speaker. My focus is on mental wellness and emotional management. When it comes to humans, we're constantly trying to figure out who we are through our emotions. Think of yourself as that ball of emotion, and you're trying to sort yourself out. And in the process, here you are, putting a ring on and giving yourself to somebody, and they're doing the same thing. So if it's not in a space where it's healthy, now you just have a whole lot of mess. That's where I come in when it comes to the emotional management. Personally, I've been married for 21 years. It'll be 22 years in September. And there's been a lot of things that have happened in 22 years, including the growth of a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and 40-year-old, right? So we're different people from who we married. Different people in the sense of we're constantly changing, constantly evolving, but to give yourself the gift of knowing that you don't have to be the same person you were yesterday is absolutely amazing. And that is where you start to build a healthy relationship. And so I know everyone's journey is different, but let's start with, who are you? Who are you before the relationship, and who are you now?
Absolutely.
So who were you?
It's amazing that you just said that, honestly, because before I came, I wrote down some things that I wanted to talk about. And the first thing I wrote down was you. Because anytime you enter a relationship, it's not even about the other person. It starts with you and understanding who you are as a person. So it's understanding your faults, the amazing things you can do. It's understanding where you've come from, your background, and being okay with who you are before you try to join yourself to another person. So for me, I would say at 24, I was very timid. I was quite withdrawn, I would say, in some respects, because I just didn't really know who I was. I was still figuring out a lot. But to the outside world, I looked like I had it all together because I had my own apartment, I had a job, I had my own car. I had it all together. So I looked ready for marriage. But internally, I was definitely not because I didn't know my personality yet. I'm very quirky. And at 24, I didn't know I was quirky. I just tried to fit in all the time because I was just like, these people are so cool. Okay, so if I want to be cool, I have to be like this. So I was constantly trying to adapt my personality to be like everybody else. And so I wasn't true to myself. So joining myself to someone and I'm not my true self, how does that work?
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah. And then when you include the idea that you will evolve from that person you are, but not necessarily evolve for that person you're joined to, but evolve for who you were always designed to be, right? So you said you were timid, you started off like you were quirky. You were trying to figure out where you stood in this life. And when you think of yourself, the questions are not being asked that should be asked. So a lot of people will say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So if you're getting married, you're in a relationship, where do you see this in 5 years? So you're thinking, well, I see us here in 5 years. You're not thinking, this is where I see myself in 5 years. So you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to evolve as a human, as a woman. Because who's to say you're not going to like the colors you like today, tomorrow?
Absolutely. I used to like pink. I like black now. You know? So absolutely, that's very, very true. It's about really understanding who you are as a person before you join yourself to somebody else, you know? And I think when it comes to picking a partner, another thing we have to realize as well is that there is no perfect partner out there. We're all imperfect. If you just take your own self, you're imperfect. You're not a perfect person. So whoever you're going to join yourself to is also going to be imperfect. So you have two imperfect people coming together. And so in order for you to make your relationship strong, you have to understand your differences and your similarities before you can really make the marriage or the relationship really strong and whole. And I think that's something that I really missed at the beginning, you know. I think a huge mistake I made when I got married was that I knew kind of what I wanted to do and a little bit about who I was, but I never questioned the other person. So I had these things, like I said, I had my own apartment, I had my own car, I had a job. I didn't look at the other person and say, okay, what have they achieved at this point? What are they bringing? Because I didn't have enough self-worth for myself. And so I thought, okay, he's chosen me. This is great. Somebody's picked me. I've won. And so I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's get married. But I didn't think anything outside of that. I just wanted to be in the race where everybody was rushing to get married and have children, because I really wanted to have children, but I wanted to do it in marriage. And so I rushed and I just went with this person, and I never thought about, hold on, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, what is this relationship gonna look like? Are we both aligned? Are we headed in the same direction? You know, there was important things that I completely missed. And it's only now, having come out of that, that I'm like, oh, hold on. What did you just do?
It's not just about, okay, I have these goals to get a house, to have this number of children, but it's about, where do I see myself? What is it that we're aligned with? For me, wellness is huge, right? That's my foundation, and that's also our birthright, to be well. So does this person want my wellness to mean something to me? Do they truly want the same things when it comes to mental well-being and emotional well-being? It's a relationship, so you're going to find yourself in conversations that turn into arguments, arguments that turn into fights, fights that turn into walking away. There's so many things that happen, but if you're grounded by the question of, do you want me to be well? Do I want you to be well? Then it comes back, even in your separation, in those moments, you're asking that question. do I care about her wellness?
Yeah.
Because if my wellness matters to you as it matters to me, it means that all the things you want for your life are in me, and the same for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how well do I need to be here? How well can how can I achieve the greatest level of wellness, not just by myself, but are we aligned in our wellness goals?
Yeah. I think wellness is so huge, because if you don't have that wellness, if you don't know how to look after yourself, you can't join yourself to another person.
Yeah.
And especially to go the distance, there's so many things that can go wrong along the way. I mean, like I said, no relationship is perfect, right? So you have to look after yourself first.
Right.
And I think, again, I'll refer to my relationship. I wasn't looking after myself. I got to a point where I just took a backseat in everything. I looked after everybody else and I never looked after myself.
So did you expect him, was he to look after you? Is that why you didn't look after yourself?
I just wanted everyone else to be okay.
Okay.
And so I just sacrificed myself. Like, are the children good? Is he good?
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to make these things, because that's what I had seen.
Right.
Like, this is what makes a relationship.
That's a relationship.
The woman should struggle and put these things together and make her husband happy.
But that does not make your life easier.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It really didn't.
And that's what relationships should look like. I should make your life easier, and you should make my life easier. Or it's a struggle.
Yeah.
And if one person is struggling, really, you're both struggling.
Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
So I've realized that I started to get very, very run down. I was always tired, and I can never understand, like, why am I so tired? Like, I just slept for 10 straight hours.
Wow.
And I'm still really, really tired. I was burnt out. My hair was going gray as well,
crazy.
really fast. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. And that's how you know the relationship you're in doesn't award or reward you with rest. You have no rest. So you're doing everything you should be doing, what you think you should be doing, and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You're not rested.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's draining. And eventually, you know what happens when you're exhausted and drained. Eventually you shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it could be really bad.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how you felt.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I felt like I had no life. In my book, I describe it and I say, I just felt like a thing that existed. I wasn't even a person anymore. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any types of relationships outside of the four walls of my house.
Wow.
Because that's the space that I'd become a prisoner.
But that's what a lot of relationships look like, a prison.
Isn't that so scary?
Yeah. And it goes from a safe haven to a space that's a prison because you cannot find a way out. And why do you need that way out? Because you're not rested, you're not well. And you may not even see it in yourself, but if you were aligned with a good partner, that person would see that in you and give you rest, right?
Definitely.
And you would do the same because it's a part of being human. You know, we have our hearts and we are empathetic. But when someone that you're with cannot see that in you, it becomes, okay, you're just gonna work through. Like, that's not how you do life. That's not a well place to do life from. And that can be very taxing. And then you start getting gray hair.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah.
And you look older than your age.
Yeah.
Right? And it's really just because within you, there's no rest. And when I think of rest, I think of how productive rest is. Because from rest, you can create, you can build, you can grind. You can do so much when you're rested. And not just physically, because we need that, but also just mentally rested, emotionally rested. It gives you a longer span of life. Definitely. And if you're running businesses or you're creating with your soul, you can create from a place where now you're building not just from what you love, but the relationship is benefiting from your rest. But when that's not important anymore, you're just being driven.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to picking the right partner for you, I think it's important to also shut out the noise that's around you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, we're influenced by what other people think is good for us. And we don't think for ourselves, right? We don't think that, you know, actually, no, this is the kind of person I want, not that type of person.
Right.
You know, like your parents may say, okay, well, I want you to get married to someone who's an office person because, you know, they're going to have a secure job. You're going to have a great relationship. They've got their, you know, their bank balance is going to be good or whatever. But that's not the person for you.
No.
Because maybe you're a creative person and you need another creative person because you're both going to work on crazy schedules and that works for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's sometimes you have to think these things through. And another thing is that sometimes we think about love too much. For me, I think that when you're going into a relationship, look at it as a business decision. I'm sorry, but it is a business decision.
Ooh.
It is. Because you're joining yourself to someone and you're gonna have joint finances, you're gonna have a joint house, you're gonna have a joint car, you're gonna have all these joint things. And if you pick the wrong person, you're in trouble.
So you're saying
I'm saying
let love go or grow?
Grow. I don't believe love is the butterflies that you get. Forget the butterflies. I can have butterflies with you. Tomorrow I can have it with you. The next I can have it with you. I can have butterflies with and those
don't live by the butterflies.
No, it doesn't. You have to be with someone who can make you angry and you still love them. Who can annoy the hell out of you and you want to suffocate them while they're sleeping, but you still love them. That's the kind of person.
That's real talk.
That's real. Do you know?
Don't suffocate anyone.
Please don't suffocate.
But that's real talk.
You know?
I get what you're saying.
That's what you need. You need someone who you want to go the duration with because love is actually something that grows.
Yes.
It's not a feeling that you're going to have every day. You're not going to wake up with, oh my gosh, I love this person. Look at him dribbling as he's sleeping. That's not how it's going to be. You know, you have to choose the person intentionally.
So these hashtags, right?
Yeah.
Hashtag black love.
Black love. Yeah.
Relationship goals.
Relationship goals.
Throw them out the window.
Yeah.
Really.
Get rid of them.
Don't go by what you see in images, by pictures. You know, so it's real life, right? And you're a human.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through those ups and downs and your own emotions. But I think what makes it more powerful when you're aligned with the right partner is being able to have those conversations together.
Yeah.
You know, sitting down, having a talk, having that conversation together. What do you want for your life? There's no way that I'm thinking here, I was born to be in your life. I wasn't born to be in your life.
Yeah, to be part of someone else's story, yeah.
You were not born just for me.
Yeah.
Like I have purpose, you have purpose, you have life goals, I have life goals. Now it's amazing if our goals come together and we're able to do this together. Right? And we're able to have these conversations. But there's no way that I was born just to be your wife. That's insanity.
No.
Right? Let's talk about what is it you want from life?
Right.
How can I help you get closer to your goals? How can you help me get closer to my goals? And as we do that, we're building. Love is growing.
Yes.
And it's well.
Yeah.
We're working from a well space as opposed to someone who believes that their life or my life is only for you.
Yeah.
So now I'm not getting treated well because you believe I'm your source of happiness or I'm just here for you. That's not relationship.
No.
That's a hostage taking.
Yeah. Because if you're not careful, you can become codependent on the other person. And I think that's a really scary place to be in.
Yeah.
Because then God forbid something happens to that person. Now, where does your life sit?
Yeah. You got to start over.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a bank account.
All these things.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to work it out.
Yeah.
And how do you do that, you know? So I think, even though you're in a relationship with someone, you still have to remain very independent on your own as well and be strong in whatever it is that you're going to do.
So I'll say this. So in my relationship, I'm not a numbers person. I'm not even logical. I'm really not. I'm doing better now, okay? But I'm a free spirit. I love love.
Yeah.
I flow. I love me. I love how I do life. I love the essence of who I am. But when it comes to numbers, I'm no good at numbers.
Right.
Unless, I'm challenged to, I have to. My partner, that's all him. Logical, numbers. We got to talk about the business is going this way. We got to talk about this. Let's talk about, I wouldn't decide on my own to do any of that. I would rather hire somebody, just handle it.
Right.
Tell me where to show up.
Yeah.
I'll show up. And so he challenges me to include that in my process. It's not my strong point at all.
That's okay.
But it is something that I've had to learn how to rewire my mind on. Okay, this is still not my thing, but let me just start to think on this a little bit.
Yeah.
So having like a balance in your relationship,
Yeah.
a partner that allows you to maybe embrace some sides of you that you probably don't know you have inside of you, is someone that's challenging your goals, saying, if I'm not here, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? So if something should happen to me, you got this.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
I'll still hire somebody. But at least I'll be closer to knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's okay. I think it's important to know when to hire people to help you out anyway in any type of relationship. I think you should know when to do that because we're talking about rest.
Yeah.
It gives you rest, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can get worn out.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, it can be a very tough time, I think some of the things that you have to think about as well when you're picking a partner, you have to think about how that person's really gonna match you and how you're gonna build and grow together, how you even wanna raise your children.
Oh,
because that's something that I didn't look at. I did not look at this person, how's this person gonna relate to the children that I have for them? Because I have one way of thinking about how I want to raise my children. How does this person think? And I never looked at that.
Wow.
Because I never thought it was going to be important.
But you were 24.
And dumb.
And I was 22.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about that either.
No.
I'm just thinking you have the potential for where I believe. And I know we're not doing things on potential
I
anymore.
was just about to say that.
I
We don't do potential.
Do that.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
But that's what I had.
Yeah.
So I went with that.
Explain why you shouldn't do things with potential.
Because it's like a dream. Like it's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
Everybody, obviously I'm a wellness coach, so I believe everyone has potential. But also it's up to that person to take that potential or to say, okay, you believe in me.
Right.
I'm going to add that to what I think of myself, and I'm going to let this grow. But if you marry for potential, or you believe in someone for potential, and that's where it stays, they don't take that potential, they don't do anything about it, then it's just a fantasy.
Who's disappointed? You are.
I am.
Yeah.
There's no way to live life.
Exactly. I actually saw this on Instagram one day. I was scrolling and I saw it, and it said, when you pick a partner, if your partner goes nowhere further up the career ladder and stays exactly where they are for the next 20 years, are you going to be okay with that? Wow. If you're not going to be okay, then you need to think about if this person is for you or not.
Right.
If you're okay with it, then that's good.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're taking a huge risk. A huge risk.
Absolutely. And
you're going to be disappointed.
Can we afford those type of risks?
No.
We can't.
No.
For myself, I've always been an ambitious person. I've been like that since childhood. I could sell you anything from childhood. I could just because of how my father spoke into my life. He always told me anything I touched was gold. He raised me to believe anything I wanted to do, I could reach it. Yeah. So that's how I was raised. So for me, being a very business-minded person and a very ambitious person, that is not something I could be comfortable with. Right? To keep moving, to keep evolving, keep growing. I go to bed and I wake up with 5 ideas. I go to sleep.
Yeah.
I have a dream. Yeah. And I'm booking a flight the next day. That's how I roll. I really, truly believe in my intuition. I don't let things pass. I investigate my dreams. Yeah. So that's who I am. Now, did I know this about myself at 22? A little bit, but I didn't know how powerful my ambition was. Yeah. Like it's so deeply rooted. I'm working on making it, balancing out to be healthy. Yes. Because I'm so ambitious. Right. But knowing that when you're young, you can't put your hand on it. No. You can't.
And if you've picked the wrong person and you have all these things that you want to go off and follow, now you're changing into another person. Right. How does the other person adapt to that.
Now you're Mary Jane.
Yeah.
I could never be a Mary Jane.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So as you evolve as a woman, you learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
You learn more about what you like. You learn more about what you love about yourself. And if you can love the things you love about yourself, now you start looking or you start attracting that type of partner in your life.
Yeah.
So it really begins with who we are.
Yeah, it begins with you.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Right?
Begins with you, yeah. That's exactly what it is. So I just want to point out something in my book. So I had Ochami Kwame write my forward for me. And he wrote something in it so powerful, I just had to take a moment.
Wow.
Because he said as he was writing, when you're picking a partner, you can't just, you know how someone, when you meet someone new, they make you feel good, you love all these things. And he says, if you choose to look at only those things, you fall in love with only that part of the person. You haven't looked at the person as a whole. You haven't looked at the person snores, the person when they're upset can just be a nasty person. You haven't looked at that, all aspects of that person before you've made an informed decision to go forward with that person. So any relationship that you go into, you have to look at the bad side of the person too, because once you accept that person, you're accepting all their flaws and not just the good things.
Right.
Because sometimes you cannot change a person.
No.
Right? Are you okay that when he's angry, he slams all the doors in the house?
No.
This is the person that you're going to marry.
Right.
So
Absolutely not.
You have to be okay with those flaws.
But if it's a healthy space and a safe space,
Yes.
you can have that conversation and say, I'm not okay with that.
Right.
You may have done that for 20
Communication.
years of your life, but that's just not going to work for me.
But there are some things that
Right.
are ingrained in a person that they're not going
from
to change.
childhood, from the way they are.
They're not going
Right.
to change. So if
Yeah.
you're saying, I love this person because they make me feel like this and they do this, that, and that for me,
Yeah.
you have to accept the other things that come with the person, because that's the whole person and not just a part of the person. So you need to think about that too.
Girl, I don't know about that part.
You have to accept people for who they are.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
Personally, I cannot accept something that I cannot accept. So
Then that
what
person's not for you.
Okay, but I'm already with the person.
But that's why
Right?
you get supposed to know the person
So-
before you've chosen them.
Right, but here's the thing. I knew him, and he chose me, I chose him.
Yeah.
We're still together. So here's something that we just do in the relationship.
Yeah.
Revisit
Yeah.
each other and allow each
That's
other
important.
to be introduced to the new version. Right? So
Always transforming. Yeah.
exactly. So okay, if we were doing that 10 years ago, we're no longer going to do that because this is how it makes me feel. This is what it
Right.
triggers in me. That is something I cannot live with anymore if I
Right.
was accepting. And he would do the same,
Yeah.
and we rewrite the marriage.
That's because you've had
Rewrite.
open communication though, right?
Yes.
Because without communicating,
Yes. So yes. You're right. And I'm right. But
right.
you're right.
Yes.
Open communication gives you that opportunity
Yeah.
to do that.
And I think
Yeah.
open communication is really important before you decide to be with
Right.
someone. So for me, if I'm going to date someone right now, I'm going to ask you a whole load of questions.
Yes.
So be ready
Yes.
because
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I need to understand before I take this journey with you and become emotionally attached to you. I need to understand what your path with and if I align with that, because I don't want to be emotionally
Yes.
attached to someone
Right.
to drag me to a place that I don't want to be at and then realize 6 months down the
No.
line that this is not for me.
So is this a first date questionnaire that you're doing?
First, second
Or
date, I
second?
would. Yeah, I
So you
would.
just laid out on the table.
Yeah, I will straight up ask you like, do you want
Yeah.
something casual?
Yeah.
You just want to be like a situationship? Are you in this for the long term? Do
Yeah.
you understand my situation? I will let the person know because I'm
Yes.
not going to waste my time.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So you have to be comfortable
Yeah.
with that. You know, when I was growing up, my dad always used to say to me, "Why do you have to ask why for everything is why? Why? He said, why has a long tail? Why do you always have to ask?" I don't know. So I thought it was it was an annoying thing that I thought that I would do. But now I'm like, listen, let's sit down, let's talk.
Yeah.
Because it's communication.
Absolutely.
I think it's my strong point now.
Yeah, and clarity, like having the clarity in your mind, in your heart, it helps you with the
Yes.
decision making, but also if you don't have that clarity and you carry on with your day, that's affecting everything that you do.
Everything. Yeah.
Right? And I don't think we're in the stage of life where we can afford to be so unclear about something that could be answered. And if someone doesn't want to answer, well, I guess, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah. Because I'm going to ask everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't want to get too deep now, but you know.
Go ahead, girl.
No, because I will ask you, like, I'm a romantic. Yeah. I like certain things. Like when it comes to, like, say, intimacy.
Yes.
I don't want you to just, I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
If you can't provide this for me, then we're not compatible unless you're willing to change and we can adapt.
Yeah. Like, how do you feel about orgasms?
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's get down, just the real question. Let's get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, you could end up with someone that has no concept of
satisfying.
Yeah. And now what?
Exactly, right? Exactly. So I think these are healthy things to talk about. And like sometimes we shy away from it too much because, we can't talk about this, it's too taboo or whatever. But no, this is what you need to know at the beginning in order for your relationship to remain healthy throughout. Because I've already told you I don't like it like that. So why are you doing it like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you see yourself as a sacred soul, your being, your mind, your soul, your heart, you're so sacred. And to allow someone into your space, near you, into you, they're either coming in and bringing all of their baggage from their mind to their, you know, their being, and now you're left with that.
Yeah.
But when you see yourself as sacred and the other person sees you as sacred as well, they're conscious of what they say to you, how they say it to you, and that communication is even sweeter because now we're really aligning with how we want to show up for ourselves and show up for each other in the world.
Yeah.
You know, how I want to wake up that day. I don't want to wake up, my whole day's messed already because last night you brought your toxic dick and now here I am. I don't think so.
I don't think the camera heard that.
Right. Like, don't bring your toxic energy to me.
Yeah.
And understanding that when you're, you know, and we're human, so we're all gonna go through moments. We have things that happen to us, things we have to digest. But it's understanding, okay, this is how I'm feeling. The same with him, knowing, okay, I'm feeling this way. I need time. I need to step away. I need to reconfigure, realign. I need to get myself back into a space where I'm safe for you and for me, and doing the same for each other.
Then you can be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
That's right. Yes.
So maybe as a wrap up, what would you say is the number one thing in order to maintain a healthy relationship with someone?
Self-love.
I think
the highest level.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. The highest level of love is the love you give yourself, the love that you know you deserve, the way you treat yourself, the romance you feel when you look in the mirror, the way your skin glows, the way you feel, the way you show up. When you embody self-love, you're very careful to who comes into your space.
Exactly.
And when someone says something, even if it's a joke, you're like, no, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't flow like that. See, the way I think about myself, your thoughts of me do not align.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely amazing what you've said, because once you realize who you are and your self-worth, you don't accept anything else.
Right.
You won't. And so what's not meant for you is not going to be for you, and that's it.
Yeah. Because you understand your value.
Yeah.
Just by waking up, by just being who you are, you understand the journey, the story, the value of your name. And when you align yourself with a confident partner who understands their value as well, you roll differently.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love that. That was so good. Didn't she end it so well? That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
For writing the book.
Yes. So,
can I ask you?
Yes.
Could you read a little something
Oh my gosh.
from the book?
This book is really, it's very deep. It's very, very raw. I'm trying to think now. You put me on the spot. You could have given me some heads up about this. Oh my gosh.
Real.
I'm going to read a little bit of this. It's called The Period of Judgment. I'm reminded that I'm a woman as well as a mother. For the longest time, I was a mother and a wife, and that was my only identity. Looking from the outside of any situation, it's easy to judge. Things will look black and white when you have no emotion involved, but the truth is that emotion shifts things. It makes it unclear to you. It's easy to say what we think happened. It's easy to behave as though you know what happened. And it's easy to act as though you were right there in the room. We all do it, even me. So basically, that chapter, that chapter talks about the judgment that I faced from other people when I decided to announce my breakup, especially because I didn't go into all the details immediately about what happened. I got so much judgment and I got so attacked for it. But people believed that they knew what had happened and they just rolled with it. And so I just had to suck it all up.
Wow.
So it was it was a very,
Thank
it was
you.
a tough time.
Thank
It
you
was a
for
tough time.
reading that piece. Just by everything you've said, by holding your book, I even went through some pages. I know you bared your soul.
I did.
It's not easy to bare your soul. So I just want to say thank you, because there's so many women and men who need to read a book like this.
Oh yeah.
To help them get through the journey, the process, or even just at the beginning. So thank you for doing that, for being brave, and for taking the time to heal and allow others to heal now with you. Thank you.
That's okay. It's very, I'd say it's quite a difficult book to read. It's really, really hard. It's very raw. I think in this book, I've been the most honest I've ever been in my whole life about anything. So I think if you're going to read this book, take some time. Yeah. There'll be some things in there you're not expecting, for sure.
And you got something happening this evening.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I do. I have something happening.
You want to share? You want to tell us?
So I have a video coming out today explaining about the book. And when you watch the video, it's really...
I listened to like a tiny piece and it was like, okay, I need to get back, lay down. I'm excited about it.
Okay, so I got someone to interview me about the book and they asked me some really tough questions, some questions that were really difficult to answer. And you'd have to watch the video to see, but I'm really scared about it because I've been so honest. And I think one of the things that a lot of us do is we're not honest. We're not honest to ourselves. We're not honest to other people. And I've tried to be as honest as I possibly can be. And when that video comes out, I'm not sure how people are going to react. But I've been honest as I possibly can be. So that's going to be an interesting one. So if you're on YouTube, you should definitely have a look at that video. 7 o'clock tonight.
Yes.
It's scary. I'm really scared.
The only way out is in.
Yeah.
And you dove in.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for you.
Yeah. It's tough. I think when you're within the African community, you're not allowed to do these things, which is why it's been so difficult for me to write this book, because from your own family, you can get a lot of judgment. Why did you have to say that? Why do you have to put your business out there? It's a community thing where it's almost like you're bringing disgrace somehow.
Right.
You shouldn't talk about this. You're supposed to take it and sweep it under the carpet so no one knows about it, and we should never talk about it. But that's
Take it
not
to your
life.
grave.
That's
No.
not life. And I think because a lot of us do that, a lot of us have been made to suffer where we didn't need to suffer if only someone else had shared or been brave enough to share. And that's what I've done.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me.
No, thank you. This has been a great chat. So there'll be more to come, I think.
Yeah, you can find me
Yes.
anywhere.
Where can we find you?
On social media, it's Coach Kamshuka. Online, it's The Conscious Warriors. And if you typed in Kamshika, you'll find me somewhere. But my focus is always going to be the well-being of our emotions, our mental health, and really not because I'm just the expert, but because this is my guideline, my guidebook to life. These
Yeah.
are the investigations of my mind and my thoughts and the constant reminder to repattern, rewire, so we can be well and love well and serve well.
Yeah, love it, love it. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you all for coming.